Universities often describe themselves as the guardians of truth, places where ideas are tested, debated, and refined through careful reasoning and evidence. In theory, academia is the domain of intellectual freedom, a world where scholars can challenge authority, question assumptions, and pursue knowledge wherever it leads. But there is a strange paradox at the heart of academic life. Despite its commitment to free inquiry, academia often operates through rigid structures of hierarchy, professional incentives, and intellectual conformity. This tension between freedom and constraint is what we might call the Ivory Tower paradox. The modern university was built on a powerful intellectual ideal. Knowledge should be pursued for its own sake. Philosophers such as Wilhelm von Humboldt envisioned universities as places where teaching and research were united in a shared pursuit of truth. In this vision, scholars were independent thinkers, intellectual debate was encouraged, and authority was subordinate to evidence. Universities were supposed to function as communities of inquiry, where knowledge advanced through open discussion and critical reasoning. This ideal still shapes how universities present themselves today. Yet universities are not purely philosophical communities. They are also institutions with complex structure. Academic life involves hiring committees, tenure systems, grant funding, journal publications, and department politics. These structures create incentives that influence how scholars behave. For example, career advancement often depends on publishing research in prestigious journals. This system encourages productivity, but it can also discourage intellectual risk. Young scholars may avoid controversial ideas if they fear professional consequences. Another source of academic constraint lies in the structure of disciplines themselves. Fields of study develop shared frameworks, methods, and assumptions. Philosopher Thomas Kuhn famously described these frameworks as scientific paradigms. A paradigm defines what questions are considered legitimate, what methods are acceptable, and what counts as evidence. Paradigms also allow research to progress efficiently, but they also create boundaries. Ideas that challenge the dominant framework may initially be dismissed or ignored. In other words, even within the pursuit of knowledge, intellectual traditions can become self-protective systems. Sociologist Pierre Bourdieu offered another perspective on academic life. He argued that academia functions as a social field, a space where individuals compete for prestige, influence, and recognition. In this field, scholars accumulate forms of capital such as publications, citations, institutional prestige, and professional networks. These forms of capital shape who gains authority within a discipline. As a result, academic debates are not only intellectual, they are also social and institutional. Ideas gain influence partly through the structure of the academic field itself. This brings us back to the Ivory Tower paradox. Universities claim to value independent thought, yet the structures that sustain academic life often reward conformity to established norms. This does not mean academia is hostile to new ideas. Many revolutionary theories have emerged from universities, but those ideas often faced resistance before they were accepted. History is full of examples where scholars challenging dominant frameworks were initially marginalized or ignored. This tension between freedom and structure is not accidental. In fact, it may be unavoidable. Knowledge production requires both stability so research can build on shared methods and concepts, innovation so new ideas can emerge. Too much stability leads to intellectual stagnation. Too much disruption leads to chaos. Universities exist in a delicate balance between these two forces. Because of this balance, dissent plays a crucial role in academic life. Scholars who challenge prevailing assumptions help keep intellectual traditions dynamic. Some of these figures appear as outsiders within the system. They question dominant frameworks, propose new approaches, or critique institutional norms. Their ideas may initially seem strange or controversial, but over time they often drive intellectual progress. Despite its contradictions, academia remains one of the most powerful systems humanity has ever developed for producing knowledge. Universities provide intellectual communities, research infrastructure, and long-term scholarly traditions. These institutions allow ideas to be developed, criticized, and refined across generations. The Ivory Tower may contain hierarchies, incentives, and internal politics, but it also contains libraries of accumulated human knowledge and communities dedicated to expanding it. The Ivory Tower paradox reminds us that academia is not a perfect system. It is a human institution, filled with ambition, rivalry, curiosity, and creativity. Universities aspire to pure intellectual freedom, but they operate within social and institutional structures that shape how ideas evolve. Understanding this paradox helps us see academia more clearly, not as a flawless guardian of truth, but as a complex ecosystem where knowledge grows through the tension between tradition and challenge. And sometimes the most interesting ideas emerge from the people willing to disturb the calm of the Ivory Tower.